This video demonstrates how to protect and license a PDF file. We're using Doc Protect running on a Mac computer, but similar features exist on Windows and Linux. We have a couple folders set up here. We have a source folder that holds our PDF file, an output folder into which we'll place the finished licensed application, and a support folder that has an icon and an image that we can later use for a splash screen. If we open up Doc Protect in the main window, we see we have a record selector where we can select one of up to 200 different records. Each of these records has all the information required for a specific project. So we've just named this record and we've given a name for the actual application window that we want to present on the customer computer, and also a name for the actual application itself. So we have the path to the source folder that we've selected, and within that folder we have the path to the actual PDF file itself, path to the icon we want to apply, and finally we've clicked the select button and chose the output folder where we want to put the finished application. You can see the main type of project here is PDF offline, meaning that when we build the application, the PDF file is self-contained within the application, so no internet access is required to use the application. We're going to apply a simple license. So we've selected license type simple. This license type comes with Doc Protect, and we're just going to do a simple manual activation process that requires a computer unique password to activate the application to a specific computer. And finally, on the options panel, we've selected that for this Mac application, we're going to generate a universal binary, and we'll set the initial size of the viewing window and make it resizable. So to actually generate the application, we simply click the build button. After a moment or so, the application is built and stored in the output folder, and then we can click the arrow here to navigate directly to the application. When a user launches the application for the first time on their computer, they're going to be presented with this enter password dialog. It shows a unique password number and requires the password to activate this specific application to their specific computer. With this manual process, that number is given to the developer, and from the license panel, you can type in the number, click the button, and this is the password that needs to be given back to the user. And then when they click OK, the application is activated and the user can now start using the application. In this case, it's just presenting the PDF file. It's presented in a resizable window, and the user has the ability to view the file, but they can't print or distribute it in an unprotected form. Now let's apply online serial number activation to our application. During the purchase process, the customer receives a serial number, and then they can download and activate without vendor assistance. To set this up, we're going to define our product in a safe activation account with a batch of serial numbers, and then on the license panel, we'll put the URL to the activation page and check the serial number checkbox. If we click the build button, we'll now build a version of our application that prompts for a serial number on first launch on the customer machine. If we launch the application, we see the enter serial number dialog, and the customer is going to enter the serial number that was provided by the vendor when they purchased. Once they click OK, the application is activated and begins to run, and runs thereafter on each launch. Let's wrap multiple PDFs into the same application. So in our source folder, we have a collection of PDF files. And if we go to Doc Protect, we'll just go to the Contents panel, and we can click the Select button and select each of those PDF files and give a title to click Add. So we build our table of contents to this collection of PDF files. And finally, let's add a splash screen as well. So we'll go to the splash screen, we'll click the Select button, pick an image. We have some other options. We're going to give a title at the top and magenta color to that, and then we'll give a URL where the user could go to our website if they clicked, and we'll provide a color to that. So once we have everything set up the way we want it, we'll click the Build button, and now it's going to build a version of our application that has included multiple PDFs. After initial activation to the user computer, each time the user launches the application, they're presented with a splash screen. It's centered in our large monitor, and that's not totally captured in this video. But once the user confirms, or after a few seconds the splash screen disappears, they'll see a contents panel where they can click on whichever PDF file that they want to view. If they close that, they get the contents panel again, and they can go to a different PDF. And that continues until they quit the application. As our final example, we'll put the PDF files on a server and then just stream them to the user's computer as needed. So we've selected the type of PDF online, and in the contents panel, we've actually put the full URL to the PDF files. So now when we go ahead and build the application, we're going to get a smaller application that does require internet access, but it operates otherwise just like the first build of our application. And it would have the added benefit of allowing you to change the PDFs on the server as needed. So if we launch, and we've already activated, so we just see the splash screen, and then we get to the contents panel, and when the user clicks, it immediately loads up the PDF from the server and displays it. To summarize, DocProtect makes it quite easy to protect and license a single or group of PDF files and then deliver it to Mac, Windows, or Linux users.